I'm going to preview the Baylor versus number 11 Kansas men's basketball game, which will be played on February 1st at 3 p.m. Central Time on ESPN. Obviously, both these teams had different results from the last game. I mean, one had a win, the other had a loss. And Baylor was the one with the loss to BYU in overtime, 93-89. No Jeremy Roach for the game still due to concussion. Maybe he'll play this upcoming game, but we'll see. And Langston Love is still has an ankle injury, which still had that issue since the end of last year, to be honest. And yeah, I know he's played some, but he still had ankle issues in all this. Well, Kansas did beat UCF again, so they got the sweep, but it was a much closer game. I mean, 91-87. And a few things to note for Kansas. KJ Adams did play for the first time since being ruled out for a game. He had a shoulder issue. The question is, how 100% is he? Or is he all the way back? Or he's going to play? Is playing through it? And another thing to note: DeJohn Harris did not play for Kansas last game due to ankle issue. So we'll see about him going into this game here. And I did make note of the ankle injury for DeJohn Harris and like an outlook for them. And I'll put the outlook on Kansas in the description below so y'all could see it. And I apologize for looking down because I cannot memorize all this stuff. So what are the records for both of these teams? Kansas is 15-5 overall, 6-3 in the Big 12. Baylor is 13-7 overall, 5-4 in the Big 12. So it is a huge game for in terms of conference standings. As you could tell, obviously a Baylor win, they would move up. A loss might move them back, and Kansas gets closer to teams like Texas Tech, Iowa State. I don't know about Arizona's a possibility, and Houston, but this is as of right now, without all the other Big 12 games being played. Of course, when I'm previewing this, so this could be totally different. So, just want to make mention of that. Now, what are some players to keep an eye on for the game? And like I said, I do not know if Jeremy Roach is going to play. He had his second concussion. Will he play? We'll see. Langston Love, we'll have to wait and see too. So what are some players to keep an eye on for Kansas? Obviously, Hunter Dickinson's one of those guys. Number 1, 7 foot 2 inch, 265 pound center. That's a senior. 16.3 points per game. He's not really a 3-point shooter. I mean, 22.2% on threes, but that's only on 27 attempts. 79.7% on free throws on 64 attempts. 9.9 rebounds per game. 2.3 assists per game, 1.8 turnovers per game, 1.2 steals per game, 1.4 blocks per game, 2 fouls per game. Obviously, there's Zeke Mayo, number 5, 6'4", 185-pound guard. That's a senior. 15.4 points per game. 37.9% on threes on 124 attempts. 80.4% on free throws on 46 attempts. 4.5 rebounds per game, 3 assists per game, 2.2 turnovers per game, 0.6 steals per game, 0.9 fouls per game. And I might as well mention DeJohn Harris in case he does play. Number 3, number 6 foot 2 inch, 175-pound guard. That's a senior. 9.6 points per game. Practically a third on threes on 54 attempts, as in like 18 for 54. 67.6% on free throws on 34 attempts, 2.8 rebounds per game, 2.8 assists per game, 1.7 turnovers per game, 1.4 steals per game, 1.1 fouls per game. Of course, KJ Adams, number 24, 6 foot 7 inch, 235-pound forward. That's a senior. 8.4 points per game, 79.5% on free throws on 39 attempts, 4.6 rebounds per game, 2.3 assists per game, 0.9 turnovers per game, 0.8 steals per game, 0.9 blocks per game, 2.4 fouls per game. Floyd Badunga, number 40, 6'9" 220-pound forward. That's a freshman. He had a good game against Houston before fouling out, by the way. So he is capable. Like 7.2 points per game, 62.1% on free throws on 29 attempts, 5.9 rebounds per game, 0.8 turnovers per game, 0.6 blocks per game, 2.5 fouls per game. This Rylan Griffin, number 6'6", 109-pound guard. That's a junior, 6.8 points per game, 39.1% on threes on 64 attempts, 70.6% on free throws on 17 attempts, 2.7 rebounds per game, 0.9 turnovers per game, 1.3 fouls per game. AJ Storr, number 2, 6'7", 205-pound guard. That's a junior, 6.6 points per game, 26.1% on threes on 46 attempts, 65.5% on free throws on 29 attempts, 2.1 rebounds per game, 1 turnover per game, 1.9 fouls per game. And there's only like 2 more players I'm really going to mention here, honestly, and it's David Coit, number 8, 5'11" guard, 275-pound guard. That's a senior, 4.6 points per game, 36.7% on threes on 60 attempts, 7 for 10 on free throws, 0.6 steals per game, 0.8 fouls per game. Shaquille Moore, number 0, 6'1", 109-pound guard. That's a senior. 4.5 points per game, 37.5% on threes on 16 attempts, 9 for 12 on free throws, 1 turnover per game, 0.6 steals per game, 1 fouls per game. So really, yeah, and if there are others that do play, y'all could see in the description below, like a Rakeem Passmore, I don't need to mention all that. And all this stuff. And Zach Clements hasn't played in a while due to a groin injury. So I'm not even going to mention his stats either. Obviously, whatever you did right last game, you got to bring it to this game. Whatever you did wrong last game, you got to correct. And I get that officiating at times has really been questionable. But you got to get through it and make plays to win. And beat a more mentally tougher team. And you got to want this game. First of all, you need to bounce back. Second, this would really help the Big 12 standings. Third, it would help your NCAA tournament seeding. I know it's too early to talk about bracketology stuff, but yeah, it's kind of iffy for Baylor men's basketball right now. I'm not saying they're definitely not going to make the tournament. It's just this is a type of a good opportunity right here to help yourself, like down the line here, in all this. And I know Kansas wants it too, but you got to want it more, and out hustle them. And you can't be intimidated by Kansas or some of the fans that do come. You got to stand up for yourself. Of course, you got to keep your cool and don't get texts or flagrant fouls, especially a flagrant 2. Stay poised throughout the game. You got to limit your foul trouble, which was a problem last game. And I know some of those calls were questionable, but let's go out there and leave no doubt on those. And don't foul on jump shots, especially on defense. And if you're going to foul like a no trade on me, please do not foul almost 90 feet away from the basket or 75 feet when you're on offense. Or even a jump shot. Just saying. Sorry, it's not just him, but you get the whole point. Don't foul on jump shots. Period. And you got to make adjustments on the fly. I'm not just saying first half to second half, but throughout the halves, timeout to timeout, possession by possession. And do not get yourself in a big hole like you did against BYU. Yeah, you got close and even forced overtime. But let's not try to be in that situation again. Seriously. And when you look at the history of those some of those games and the losses, they've had double-digit deficits. And they lost either pretty easily or pretty close. Like in overtime. And I know there's one rare occasion that they won and they were down over 20. And that was against St. John's, but no, it's just one of those miracle shots as time expired, I know. But you get the whole point. Now, defensively, we got to do a better job on points per possession, as in, like, don't allow so many easy shots, whether it's from the 3 point line or from the lane. Of course, you can't let them live at the free throw line either. Whether you go man to man, zone, full court pressure, whether it's man to man or trap, I mean, got to create some havoc. You got to out rebound them. You got to get some defensive boards, which that killed us at times during the game against BYU when you look at it. Look at the second change points. I'm just saying. And you got to be sound defensively and don't try to get beat so much to the drive. And you got to obviously limit the best players offensively as much as possible and make everything a living nightmare. Get them uncomfortable. I mean, obviously getting some blocks would be huge, but getting some steals would really help. You got to limit the points in the paint some, which I know it's been a struggle, but you get the point. And limit the 3 point line shooting. You got to limit the fast break points, points out turnovers. I mean, fast break points, points out turnovers, and points in the paint as much as you can. Of course, across the board too, you got to have your bench step up, and we'll see about if Jeremy Roach does play, because if he does play, to add another body to the mix for the team, whether he's starts or not, it doesn't really matter. Another body's another body. I mean, that's just telling the truth in all this. Obviously, if they do fouls for Kansas on both ends of the floor, it's on them. I'm just saying. And one of the best ways to get some offense is through your defense. So let's get some turnovers again. Then you get some points out turnovers. Get some points in the paint, whether it's like a drive or when you drive the ball, you kick it out and you make a three. You know, and get some second chance points. Of course, you want to limit those on defense. You got to make your free throws count. Yeah, that hurt us against BYU. Especially you got to make them in big moments where, oh, we could tie this game up or get it closer. Or even like during overtime. And I'm not just saying just make your free throws in one half either. Make them all the time. I mean, it's just telling the truth. And you don't want to have like illegal screens as much as possible. You got to limit your turnovers. Got to get some good looks. I mean, and I'm just going to just simply put, VJ needs to step up. And he has done that the last few games when you look at the numbers. And he's shooting the ball from three a lot better. And that is helpful for the team right now. So, and I know Jay Nunn had a better game, so hopefully he could bring it over to this one. And North Carolina needs to play a little bit better and not turn the ball over so much, commit silly fouls. And I'm not just saying he needs to step up on offense, but on defense at times and get like a double-double. I mean, it's just telling the truth. And Joshua Juwuno needs to step up too. And hopefully Rob Wright gets going again and don't have so many turnovers. Needs to step up, especially if there's no Jeremy Roach. And obviously Jeremy Roach plays. He just needs to do what his role and all this. Same thing goes for Langston if he does even play. Which we'll see on both. But you can hit the point. I'm just preparing as if they were playing, but I'm not sure they're going to play. And also, Jalen Celestine needs to step up off the bench. And I know he had a bad last game. 7 points on 2 for 8 shooting, 2 for 6 on threes. Hopefully he could shoot better. And did what he did against Utah and bring into this game right here. And Jason Asamoah, he's probably going to play some. I just don't know how much. And I know he's raw. But I like his energy. I like his defense. I mean, that really would help to have him step up and do his role. And honestly, he can score too. It's just, that to me, it's a bonus right now. And if VJ could just take over games, that would really be helpful. And Rob Wright, he did a good job. He had like 2 turnovers, but he had like 22 points on 6 for 12 shooting. So I'm going to just say this. This is a prime opportunity for Baylor men's basketball to bounce back. First of all, I mean, look at the history between Baylor and Kansas this decade. Baylor's beat Kansas at home in Waco last sometimes, but since then, like since 2021, and I know 2020 they beat Baylor. I know Kansas did. I know it was just an epic game, but you get the point. You need to protect home floor. You need this win to help yourself NCAA tournament wise down the line. So, and obviously, and get some confidence in winning a big game, especially at home. And do not start slow. And get off to a good start and then finish strong. So, we're going to have to wait and see what happens here. So, anyways, if you like this content, hit the like and subscribe button. See you guys later on the road to 7 subscribers. Goal, ultimate goal is 1,000 more, some more money. If this course like a video, comment video really helps YouTube backgrounds. More people see it. So, the video does help as well, so more people can watch. And if you're watching and not subscribe, hit subscribe button, hit the notification bell as well. And Baylor is receiving votes going into this week, by the way, with 8 of them. So, it really would help to get more votes if they would win this type of game. But I know AP poll doesn't matter. It's more like the NCAA tournament stuff down the line. But you get the whole point. And they do not need to get themselves closer to the bubble as is. And you got to have a sense of urgency here. And let's go out there and protect home floor. And give our best shot.